Okay, hello people. I hope you are hearing me. Sorry about the late broadcast. Boy, I tell you, like it seems as though we have not used this thing since last year. So it just didn't work at all. For some reason, she just was not working at all. But let's go now. Let me just welcome everybody. We apologize for the late start. Let me make sure that we are on. Apparently, we would have a little difficulty with the YouTube people. We are only on Facebook. All right. So sorry about that. Unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles. All right. Let's go now to um. Let's see who's online. Let me see if I could find the people online now and see if we could connect with them. All right. Who do we have on? Charmaine, thank you very much for joining us. Haven't seen you since last year. Thank you so much. We're going to have to give people a chance to now know that we are still on, seeing that we had this late start. Charmaine, Happy New Year to you. Pamela Martin, Happy New Year to you too. Thank you very much for joining us. Good evening, Josanne. We had some technical difficulties. I don't know, it's as though everything got rusty since last year. Yes, I know I late, But still rock and come in, my people. Rock and come in. Let's have this one on the road. I hope you all are hearing properly. Yes, as we said, we have our YouTube people out of the game, unfortunately. So we'll have to run without them. All right, so how's everybody been keeping? I hope everybody's been good and behaving themselves properly. Yeah. So we have so many things that coming up for this year that I want you all to keep abreast of it. One of the things that we have coming up is that we have a virtual counseling session that will be coming up. Yes, we do. And I want to introduce that to you in just a while. Let me see if I could let you know about that. This one is where we're going to do an online counseling. So if you see it there on the screen, we're going to be doing an online counseling. And we're inviting people to just come out, share your ideas, share your thoughts. And it's not going to be private counseling. It's where we're going to be gathered together. And we have that is carried for the 19th of January at 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. We're asking you to come out, be part of that. We're asking for, we call it a contribution, 75 US contribution. No, 75 TT, sorry, 75 TT or $20 US, which is a contribution. The normal cost for a counseling session is usually about 60 US or $350, $400 TT. But this is really a contribution, and we're asking people to register. You see the Q code there. You can just take your phone, put it on camera, take the Q code, go and register, pay, and this is valued for only 24 hours. After that, the price changes after 24 hours. The $75 TT changes to, I think it changes to $90 or $100 or somewhere there, thereabout. And the $20 TT changes to $50. But for 24 hours, you can go and register and be part of this. Whatever question you have, I'm making myself available to do online counseling, and you will hear the questions from other people, and those questions from other people will assist you even in your own situations. Of course, we're not going to get too personal. If it is going to be very personal, we're going to ask people to do private counseling. But this one here are some of the run-of-the-mill questions that people are going to have and they want answers to. All right. And if you cannot take out the Q code, you can go to the website. The website is written at the bottom. It is www.michaelatstewart.com. You can go straight to the website and register online. And we're going to have that done as the 19th of January. It's a Sunday from 3:30, 2 hours counseling. Now, when I tell you, counseling is about $350 to $400 TT or $60 US for 1 hour. You are getting 2 hours, 2 hours for $75 TT, not the $350 or the $400. That is 1 hour. You are getting 2 hours for that. You are getting 2 hours for 20 US instead of 60 US. Don't miss this, because you can get quite a bit of your issues discussed and resolved. And some of your issues are some of the issues that other people have. All right? Nicely. Let me see if we have our people on, right? People have joining us. Rock and come in, my people. All the rock and come in. Chef, nice seeing you, man. And thank you very much, Chef, for your New Year's greetings. I got a call from Chef. I appreciate that. It made it a voice live call. I appreciate that so much, Chef. All was not aware you were on. Okay, yes, we had some technical difficulties. Sorry. Michelle Nicholson, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you, my lady. My goodness, yeah, good to see you. On Lyndon Jofield, thank you very much for joining us. Trisha, where's Annabelle? Annabella is in the country. Trisha? I have no idea if this girl is on our soil. All right. Happy New Year to you, Caroline Sukdio. Thank you very much for joining us. Yes. Thank you very much. And I will give my family your kind regards. Candice Alexander, Happy New Year to you. Nice having you on. Edwin Tulsi, good. Edward Jones, yes. And my lady Charmaine. Josanne, St. Lucia, nice having you. Pamela Martin, nice, nice, nice. All right, so we ready to rumble then? Yes, Molly Tulsi, good to see you too. All right, so let's not waste the time. Let's start dealing with some of the things. How do you know that your marriage or your relationship is in deep trouble? Right. So the thing is, a lot of people, and sometimes you're in a relationship, my people, you're in a relationship, and one person thinks everything is going hunky-dory, and another person isn't on board with you. So we take so many things for granted that while the relationship is going along, we are not getting substance out of the relationship, or somebody's not getting substance out of the relationship. And then you have a surprise departure or a surprise notice from your spouse and say, I am not happy. I'm fed up. There are some people, they see the red flags, they know their partner not happy, they know they're not happy, but make no move to resolve the issues. Those are some of the things that we're going to talk about to help you all through this journey. And there are people who have studied this thing and said that there are some things that you could look at to tell that your relationship is in trouble. All right? So let's go, because we already start late. So you know we're going to have to go a little late tonight. I hope that you all don't mind that. Okay, and if you have hearts, just show me the hearts and so on. Like the page, follow the page, go and press follow, etc. Call your friends, share the live and tell them Mike at Night is on for the first time, 2025. All right, number one. You see that going to bed? Those who studied said, if you're consistently going to bed at different times to your partner, something is wrong. Because certainly, when you're courting, you don't go to bed at different times. Yeah. Those of you who doing your hanky-panky outside of marriage, you know that. And certainly, you know that once you're married, early in the marriage, you both go to bed together. But then now, all of a sudden, you're going to bed at different times. Some staying up and watch television. Some watching television, hoping that you fall asleep first. so that when they come inside, they don't have to tango with you. Some of them pretend as though they're busy doing things, or fall asleep on the couch, fall asleep doing something else, and then come in late after it finished, while one is inside already fast asleep. That's a sign that things not going to tra-la-la, right? And that is something, because there is an intimacy that you get from going to bed together. And I'm saying not all the times you will be able to go to bed together, because some might be time, some might have some deadlines for things, some people might not feeling too well, etc. So there'll be different reasons. But if generally you both go to bed at different times, then you miss out on the hugs that take place, the caressing that takes place, the intimacy, the closeness that takes place as you both fall asleep. And being in bed watching television does not count as going to bed together. I'm talking about having to have that time to just connect with each other just before falling off to sleep. And those who studied said that's a red flag. That's a sign things are beginning to separate. All you hear me? Does that make sense? Are you all listening? Right. Okay. So, hot sick all parties in any relationship be totally pleased at all times. No, you cannot always be pleased at all times. That's for sure, Mr. Chef. All right. So that's one. Two is plenty we have to share. So forgive me if I go a little fast sometimes. But if you have questions, you all put it in the chat. I will stop and deal with the questions. Two, whenever your job becomes more important than your spouse, your relationship is in trouble. Trust me, because it is not good that you are so working hard for your job that you miss out on activities, relationship events that you can be doing with your spouse. And there are some people, they make their job, their career, their life. And then after they have done that for years and then about to retire, you recognize that your spouse is a stranger to you. You can't make your job so important, always doing things and always having to be busy. You leave your office, you must leave your office and be home. If you're home, you must be home. You understand? No matter how good your job is. And I know I'm talking to some people outside of there who recognize that their spouse spend too much time in their career, in their jobs, the passion that they have, that they feel slighted. They feel as though I am just in the house. The wife might figure that she doesn't get help. She doesn't get support. The husband might feel that the wife does not put enough time and engage enough time to connect with him. That is a red flag. And it tells you that your relationship and your marriage could very well be in deep, deep trouble. Now, let me say this. Not every single one of these, if you have one or two of them, it doesn't matter. Those things take place. The question is, do you have a large number of the things that I'll be talking about that dogs your relationship or bedevil your relationship? That you've got to ask yourself. All right? So, and priority is important. Yes, priorities are important, and your priority has got to be your family. What about when your spouse friends are more important than you? We come into that, Charmaine. You're on the ball. Good evening, Curtis Cox. Rock and come in, my boy. Rock and come in. Thank you very much, Sandra Jack. Yes. Rock and come in. So, when your friends are more important, we're going to come to that because that is a reality. So there are some people in relationships and in marriages, they are totally frustrated. They are totally tired. They have had enough. They are fed up because they feel as though the relationship is not making any profitable sense. All right? So one, you love your job more than. Three, And for those who just joined us, number one is that you go to bed at different times. Number two is that you love your job more than your spouse. Number three is that you have a two-face. You have a kind of two different dispositions when it comes to the relationship. When you're with your friends, you're laughing and talking, you're enjoying yourself. Yes, we could hear you loud. You could hear that you're enjoying yourself and so on. And everybody think you are the life of the party when you're with your friends. However, when you're with your spouse, it's as though you eat sour lemon. You have this disposition that makes the person feel as though, so what is wrong? So how come all of a sudden that you're so happy and gay with all everybody else, but now that you're with me, it's as though you're mean and sad and irritated, etc. Something is wrong if that is so, because that is pretense. You understand? When your children have to take cover, get quiet and hide because you're home, something is wrong. It's a sign that your marriage or your relationship has some serious issues that you need to check. Right? Now, I want all you to write down how many. I've done so far 3 of them. I want you to write down the ones that you think you are suffering from and how many of them to see how bad your situation is. Can you all do that for me, please? Yes, I would love if you could do that. I will appreciate that very much. Right. Lyndon, I come into that one too. What about when your children are more important than your spouse? I come into that one too. Curtis, I had a training partner who migrated to the US and had 3 jobs and was hardly seeing his wife. Divorce was the calling, the marriage. Of course it would. Of course it would. Nobody wants to be in a relationship and they are second rate to their jobs. No, people saying, but then how are we going to pay the bills? Why work so hard for a family that you no longer will have? Does that make sense? That math's not matching. You have to find a balance, because even if you are working so hard to pay all these bills, do with less, cut and contrive. Because when you lose this family, you have to start the next family. And now you have 2 families. Let's say you have children for the first one and children for the next one. It's 2 homes you have to now mind, sir. If it is a sir. And if it is a mom, you still have 2 set of families. So it is a harder task, breaking up. And then what are you going to do with this job that you have been so heavily engaged with? Are you going to back down now? Then if you could back down now, then back down one time in this relationship that you are in. Yeah? So let's talk now. Let's talk. All right? So for those who just joined us, let me just segue to, I told the group about our session that is coming up. So let me just make a break here to tell you that we have a training program, not a training program, I'm sorry. It's a virtual counseling event. You are getting live, direct counseling. Everybody's going to come on the Zoom and we are going to have a counseling session. You have your questions, I will answer them. Relationship discussion. And that is on Sunday the 19th from 3:30 to 5:30. That is 2 hours. Counseling costs between $350 and $400 for 1 hour TT or $60 US. You are getting 2 hours for $75 TT or $20 US. It is just a contribution you are making, just to make sure that we can pay for the equipment that we're using and buying and maintaining, etc. That's the least you could do. So you can take your phone, take out the QR code that is on the line, and take out, that is going to send you straight to the page to register, and then you can pay. Make sure you do that tonight, because this is only for 24 hours. After that, the price goes up after 24 hours. Tomorrow, it is going to go up to $50 US, and I think it is about $90 or $100 TT. So I would suggest that we will take the 24-hour temptation cost. or temptation contribution. All right. So, yes. So make sure you do that. Or you could go on the website directly. The website address is at the bottom, www.michaeletistuart.com. All right, my people. Let's go. Good. Let me see if there are any questions on board. All right. Can the scale of priorities be balanced in any relation? Can the scale of priorities be balanced in any relationship? It might not be equally balanced, but you could find that it is able to operate in a way that you both can handle. Because there's going to be a scale usually tilts left and right, but if it is tilting heavy to one side and consistently one side, then you have a scale that is really weighted too much, favoring one side. But it is all right if one time it weighs on one side. Let's say you have a spouse who is very busy, has some bills to pay for the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, and so on, and they do that, and then after that, they back off and spend time with the family, then the scale balance is back. The wife may be busy with the children. She may be having to now be preparing children for back to school. She may be pregnant. So she might not have as much time to spend with the relationship and so on. That is all right. And then after she tries to come back, and you find what we call equilibrium. All right. So I hope that that answers Chef's concern. All right, my people. So let's go. So if you have just joined us, we've done 4 already. Things to tell that your relationship is in deep trouble. Almost every night you are going to bed at different times. Almost, generally, your spouse or you are too preoccupied with your job, your career, your vocation. 3, you are happy with other people, but somehow or the other, when you're with your spouse, you have a different demeanor, lower, more irritable, you're angry. But when you're with your friends and when you're in church and when you're in your community, when you're on a job, you're happy like papi. One gentleman did tell me when we had an intervention with him, he says his wife was accusing him that he comes home and he seemed to be always angry and to himself, and when he's not quarreling, he's quiet. But she sees how he operates outside with other people and on the job and so on. And this is what the gentleman told me. So it's a good thing to know. He said, when I am out on my job, they call me Mr. People respect me. They talk to me as though they regard me as a friend, as a co-worker, as somebody valuable. But he said, Mr. Stewart, when I come home, my wife does talk to me worse than she talks to her children. So that is why I just pull to myself and have that. So there are different reasons that people have. But you might find also that a wife gets on the phone, she laughs with her friends, she wants to go out with her friends, but when she comes home, she's sad. It might be because of the way the husband talks to her, that the husband talks to her very insultingly, very embarrassingly, and makes her feel as though she is a dodo. You know what dodo mean? All right. Work it out. So she withdraws. So there are reasons why people do this. And you have to ask yourself, am I contributing towards the kind of withdrawal that my spouse is giving me? All right? Okay, my people, all the rock and come in, people. Tonight is the first of the Mike at Night for the year 2025. So I want to make sure that we'll get this one down pat. So now we're dealing with what? Number 4. Number 4 is when you feel at home, when you're in work, and you feel you're at work when you're home. Let me say that again. You feel at home when you're in work, but you feel as though you're at work when you're at home. And probably this might apply to so many women who are employed and they enjoy their employment, the area of the employment and the friends that they meet, etc. But when they come home, it's as though the work never ends. So obviously they are going to feel a how, and that is where partnership comes in to stop sort of support each other. Where some people don't wish to go home. They don't feel as though home is a sanctuary, as though it's a place that you could enjoy and relax. Some homes are just too full of arguments and cuss out and accusations and so on. And some people ask themselves, did I marry the wrong person? Am I in the wrong relationship? Did I make a mistake? You understand? There are people who actually feel that this is a task. There are people who feel regretful that they are in this relationship. They ask themselves, what were they thinking when they got into the relationship in the first place? Yeah? And once you're feeling like that, as though the work is stress at home and your living at home is stressful, but when you're out from home, you are happy, then we know for sure your relationship. So if you have all four already, you know you're already starting to hit that caution zone. All right? Number 5. Number 5 is when, people start sleeping in different rooms. You all experience that? Where a spouse picks up, take the blanket and the pillow, sleep in the next room. Something wrong there. And there are some who don't pick up and go and sleep in the next room. There are some who that's their permanent room. You're living in a marriage or in a relationship and you are sleeping 2 separate rooms. Well, if for medical purposes, because there are some people who wake up easy, so every time a spouse turns, they wake up, you have that issue. You have some people, the mattress on this bed is not good because it's soft, too soft for them, but that person likes the soft mattress and the next person like a firm mattress and they may want to switch and so on. There are reasons that people may have different rooms. So we are not dealing with those situations. We are dealing with the normal course of things that you feel better sleeping without your spouse in a different room. And you go in the children's room or you go in a spare room, the guest room. You don't sleep in the same room. And if you're sleeping in the other room because you miss sleeping with the children, then we know for sure that that is major crisis issue that you're talking about. Yeah? All right. Disrespect is a no-no. There must always be an atmosphere of building, not casting down. Thank you, Chef, for that. All right. So put your comments in the chat, my people. I am happy to hear your comments as we go along. Right. What is it? I think we have number 5. So we talk about sleeping in different rooms. Number 6. If you love your siblings and your parent more than your spouse. Let me say that again. When we love our siblings and our parents more than our spouse, then we know we have a little challenge in the manger. Because there are some people come from close family knits. We call it the family of origin. The family of origin is the family you grew up in. But now you're married, you're in a relationship. And there are some people still heavily attached to their brothers and sisters from the family, still heavily connected, enmeshed with their father and mother. So it is so strong that they carry more weight than the person you are in the relationship with, that you are married to, particularly married. I don't think that somebody who is not in, well, this is my bias. I'm going to let out my bias here. I don't think a girlfriend or a boyfriend should carry more weight than your parents and your brothers and sisters. If you all disagree with me, or tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But this is my personal belief. Boyfriend, girlfriend should not carry more weight than your parents and your siblings. If they're so important to you and they carry so much weight, marry the person. And if therefore that you have married them, then you should now do what the Bible says. Leave and cleave. And now your spouse is the one that you are accountable to. The husband must connect with the spouse, and the wife must connect with the husband. That's where you get your first opinion from. So if you're going to buy something, you don't talk to your parents first. You don't talk to your brothers and sisters first. You talk to your spouse, your husband or your wife. They must know what is going on. You all hearing me? There are some things that are a little stronger. That it happens to be one of them. All right? Asisha may say ding, 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 but I don't know what she's saying ding, ding, to, because, you know, sometimes you all are hearing it after I give it. So, Josanne said, I'm right. I'm not sure what that is too. Yeah, so whenever you're writing it, you must write what it is you're referring to. This is not a marriage. That is just sharing a house and apartment. All right. Okay, I understand. I understand, Curtis. What about your partner always saying your mom and dad did that better than you? Yeah, but I hear my wife giggle in the corner there. Because you know, early in our marriage, my mother used to make a wicked pigeon pea soup. And early in my marriage, my wife made a soup. But when my mother make a pigeon soup, pea soup, coconut inside of that thing, my mouth watering just thinking about it. Coconut like that. And plenty pigeon peas. And this is not pigeon peas in tin that you're buying. Pigeon peas from the tree. So there was a taste that you got from that. Little pigtail inside of there. And she do a set of things inside of it. But there's a taste that you get. So early in the marriage, my wife asked me how it tastes. I said, it tastes too bad, you know, but it's not tasting like my mother. Who tell me say that? My wife tell me, from now on, let your mother make the pea soup for you. Yeah? So, going back to what Curtis is saying that you don't do it, I think it is something that we should stay away from. Just be honest. If you are asked and they ask you to compare it with your mother, then fine. Go ahead and say yes, you know, and be honest and say my mother did it differently and so on. But if they didn't ask you to compare to your mother, then don't bother compare. I learned my lesson and I just telling all you to save all yourself that set of trouble. Josanne, how boy, you harsh, Josanne. Josanne said she would have never make a next pot of pea soup for me. Josanne, I repented of that already. You understand me? Rose Petal, nice. Good night, good night. All what can come in, people. One partner leave and cleave and the other leaves but never cleaves. Yes. All right, I get you there, Charmin. I get you there now. Let me see what else. Curtis says he ate. Yeah, I ate your mom food. Oh, you did? All right, my boy. In reference to parents and sibling more important. All right, yes. Yeah. You can't make parents and sibling more important at all. Okay, nicely. I really appreciate all of the sharings and comments that you all are doing. And just throw up the hearts. Just throw up the hearts first, then. So those who have joined us late, we will be going a bit over the 9 o'clock hour. Well, we're going to be a bit late because we're supposed to go from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. But because we had technical difficulties and started late, and I really want to do this particular topic, we start off 2025 on a slow foot already, and I know I will need to make up for it. All right, so we're talking about, for those who just join us, how do you know that your relationship is in deep trouble? All right. So that was 6. You love your siblings and your parents more than your spouse. It's a sign that you have some serious adjustments to make. You are too close to your family of origin. So you cannot be in a marital relationship and still your wife tells you something or your husband says something and your parents tell you something and you ignore your spouse and follow your parents. Sit down. If you think so strongly that your parents' opinion is valid, try to sit down with your spouse and convince them to balance that with what they think and what your parents are saying. But don't do it and ignore your spouse. Make sure you sit down and work that out. All right, people? All right. I hope you get that. Number 7. You love your children. This one is the one Lyndon was asking about. You love your children more than your spouse. So I hear people say that, particularly for a mother will love her children more than her spouse because the child she bear for 9 months. Well, the thing is, I'll tell you what usually the problem with that. When we put so much emphasis on the children, and I'm talking to the women, that we love the children so much, when the children grow up and they meet a certain age, from 14 years, and I think I shared this in previous programs, so let me just quickly review it and tell you. From about 0 to 6 years, a child around that age, the primary caregiver is the mother. The child looks for nurturing there, the mother. But as the child goes older, from 7 years old to about 14 years old, it is said that the child looks to the father. So you need to have the mother in the life of the child nurturing, and you need to have the father in the child's life to teach the child stuff, to be able to start operating in a disciplined position and so on. And they might be a bit harsher, but this is how it works out. But after 14 years old, 13, 14 years old, the child looks for friends. So you'll find that the mother who cradles this child so much want to compete with the friends that the boy or girl wants to have at that point, because the mother has become so closely enmeshed with the child that the child cannot have freedom now to now move on into friends. But even so, the child is going to come to a stage that the child will go off into university. The child is going to have a girlfriend, a boyfriend. The child is going to have his or her own home. And then what are you left with? When you love the child so much, you are left with your husband. You are left with your wife. What is going to happen with that relationship after that? That is where the red flag should be. And you recognize that that is the demise of the relationship. That is why so many families stay together for years. And as soon as the children get big and grown, all of a sudden, when they look at each other, husband and wife now, they recognize we don't know each other. We have nothing in common. We don't love each other. And then they separate at that stage. No, you cannot love your children more than your spouse. The Bible says we are to love husbands, to love your wife. And so therefore, that's where the love is supposed to be. We are supposed to train the children. But what we do is we train our spouse and love the children. Right? So when you get to that stage, then of having to put the children, so, and don't think that taking care of the children is ignoring your spouse. Take care of the children. Love them and take care of their needs, etc. But don't let them replace the person that you married, because that person was there first. It will never end well. I've never seen anybody in a relationship and they love the child more than the person that they married to, and the person says, "Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I'm not loved enough." No, it doesn't happen. Right? So before marriage and early in the marriage, before the child came along, it was both of you. That has to stay together. Okay? Your spouse should be the most important person to you. And here's what you do. If your child recognizes that you love them and ignore, slight, or diminish the value of their father or their mother, they will never respect you. In fact, they will enjoy it now because they are children. But what does that do to this other spouse who is being slighted and that child is watching it? You are also preparing that child to treat their spouse in that same slighted way. So they are going to now have relationship issues as they grow up. All right? So that is number, I don't know what number that. Number 7. All right? So I hope that question was answered for that person who asked it. Eden Thomas, Happy New Year to you. Thank you very much. You can't come in. You're late, but all right. We can take you. Hey, you spend hard by Miss D Hard. You in Bacalet. Yeah, man. No man Cox. We must link up. We must link up. His real names. You call them, man. You bring back some memories there. All right, Curtis. Let's link up, please. Chef said you did not marry your mother or your father. That is not acceptable. Absolutely. All right. Number 8. Are you how many people writing down the ones that apply to them, and just tell me the number. Just post your numbers as to how many of them referred to you in your situation. Just write the numbers. I ain't asking you to tell me which ones are them because I don't want your business out of door. How many out of the 7 we've done so far that applies in your situation? All right. Let me just give you time to show that. Show me the hearts. In the meanwhile, now is a good time to go and remind you about our program coming up, online counseling. That is January the 19th. We are asking people to make their contribution to having this. You can come, log on, and we are going to ask questions. You will ask questions. I will try and answer as best as I could. When it comes to relationship, when it comes to men's issues, women issues, etc. And we will engage that as much as possible. Okay? All right. So that's done. All right. Let me see what's going on online here now. All right. So are you all posting your numbers? Were you all counting at them at all? I wonder. Charmaine says all. Manuelin says 4 out of 7. Wow. All right. Charmaine, wow. That's not easy at all. All right. So, Reader Leaks, you're late. Very late. Yep, you might have to look back are the ones that we've covered so far. Yeah. Let me also thank I think I want to take a little while here now to say thanks to Randall Fields and the Chief Secretary of Tobago, of Trinidad, of Tobago, really, and the Tobago's of Assembly, because they recognize the work that I do, and there was a session that they did to honor me and others, and I just wanted, for those who have missed it, on the Facebook page, yeah, the Chief Secretary of the Tobago's of Assembly and of Tobago, along with Mr. Randall Fields. Mr. Randall Fields is an advocate for men's and men's issues, and I was happy to have been awarded and received the token of appreciation and recognition. And I want to say thanks to them very much. I was very touched by it. And I also want to thank Randall Fields for his continued advocacy for men and boys in this field. All right. So it has been really a wonderful, wonderful occasion. Yes. Randall Field is a man on the extreme left, and there were two other recipients in that session. This is the Chief Secretary, Mr. Honorable Farley Augustine, and Mr. Morton, I think it is, that is called. All right. So I just thought I would just say thanks and share that with you all. All right. Be back on track now. Rock and come in, people. Let's go back now to where we were. Let me see if there's any questions that people have out there. Thank you, Tulsi. All right, Joseon, you have 3. All right. Okay. Let me see. I'm asking people to put their numbers of the things that apply to them in the chat. So I'm just trying to read what people are saying. Okay. Thank you, Joanne, Benjamin. Appreciate that. And Rose Petal, thank you very much. Okay, so let's get back now and give you some of the others. So we're up to 7, when you love your children more than your spouse. Number 8, when you talk, but you don't discuss. You know, there are some people, they think talking is you cook, or you're all right. That's not talking. That's not discussing. That's not communicating. You know that? That's a disconnect. Chatting and discussing and connecting more deals with on a personal level. You're talking things that are of interest to both of you all. And some relationship, some people might look back and say, well, we can't tell when last that we laughed together, talk about things together, talk nonsense and enjoy the nonsense we talk about. Some people just can't remember when last that has happened. And that is sad, because communication is key. It is the cement that holds that relationship together. So if we're going to have a good connection with each other, We must be prepared to have discussions, and discussion even when we don't agree in the discussion, where we don't let it degenerate to cursing each other, calling each other names, and becoming very personal in it, raising issues that we solved already. No, discussion has to be that I hear you, I understand what you're saying, I don't agree with it because. And you all can be able to have a discussion on the because. It does not have to degenerate into, some people actually get into fight, physical fight, because of something that they disagree with. So in order, we could talk about how you deal with it otherwise, but part of discussion means somebody is listening while somebody is talking. There's a lot of times that everybody's talking together. Nobody's listening. So somebody must listen while the other person talks. And when the person who's listening is listening, they're not listening to come back with a response. They are listening to understand what you are saying. And if what you're saying has validity, you agree with the person. Sometimes you may need to recant on your position that you had prior in order to support the person in this position that they have just elucidated for you. And say, well, yes, I understand now, and you take it on board. But you don't hold on to an opinion just because you don't want to now give up that position to accept that the person was right. Right? And then some of these talk, we need to have what we call the light-hearted talk, not the heavy metal kind of talk where we always talking about heavy things that usually get us into trouble. All right? Number 9. Besides having discussion is when you talk at each other, but not speak with each other. There's a difference. The talking at is when you're blaming the person, accusing the person, where you're finger pointing, shouting at them, abusing them, calling them names. And when you're talking to them, you could hear it in the tone that you're talking at the person and you're not talking with the person. So when you're talking at the person, your tone carries a certain sentiment, a certain flavor that the person feels attacked. When you're speaking with the person, even if you're disagreeing with the person recognizes that you are communicating with them. So slurs and slanders and curse words and foul language and so on should not be. How could you go to bed with your spouse and want sex after you curse them for a little bad word and all kind of things all night? That is madness. You hear me? And some people are brave enough to do it, and still want thing. And when the person doesn't give you, you're vexed with them. It don't happen so, my boy. It don't happen so, my lady. It don't happen so, my people. At all. Okay? Nice. It's 8:11. All right. So let's go on to this one. When there are hidden purchases. Hidden purchases. Now, what do I mean by that? When you are buying things and your spouse don't know you're buying things, and you're buying them and hiding them, that they only find out a week or two later that you bought this, then it must cause question, especially if there's a dearth, a dry spell financially in the family, and you are spendthrift with the money and buying non-entities, frivolities, then they must question, why is it you'll buy that? And you know that we have important bills to pay. Why did you buy that and hide it? You see. So that's also another red flag. And that is something that we have to be very careful about when there's hidden purchasing. It shows, therefore, that you don't trust your spouse, or that your spouse is not worthy for you to trust them. This is what we call financial infidelity. You are being unfaithful to your spouse financially. Because when it comes to money, you all are supposed to agree on some of these money things. Not every little thing, Because you want your spouse to have their own money, you have your own money, so that when you want to surprise your spouse, you don't have to now give away the surprise by going and tell your spouse, I'm going to take out some money to buy something for you. No. But the major discussions and the major purchases and things that going to affect the run of the money on the family. Oh heavens, your spouse should know that. Even if you're going to lend somebody money, sometimes you need to be able to let your spouse know that too. That you are lending your brother, your sister money and so on. Right? Not all the times you need to, but it is a nice thing to do. So a relationship is made of trust, and therefore money happens to be one of the things that comes between spouses and break down trust. Okay? So if you're hiding what you're buying, stop it. Number 11. Number 11. When you are careless with your appearance. Some people get a little comfortable in their marriage and in their relationship that they drop themselves. They either put on too much size or not dressing in a way that is pleasing and palatable. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not taking care of the hair. They're not taking care of the hygiene and so on. They're just taking a lot of things for granted. I tell you, you are supposed to still be desirable in your relationship. Take care of yourself. Because if your spouse leaves you, one of the first places that people go once their spouse leaves them is in a gym. Because they're trying to get back to be marketable again. So just be marketable while you with your spouse. So that's one of the things to tell you, that if the person is not taking care of themselves, it might be an indication that the relationship itself has gone into crisis. Because if they really care about you, they will care about themselves and how they keep themselves. Do you all agree with me? All right. So, thank you, Darren Phillips. We're down to number 12. When you don't trust each other. Now, this is the thing that necessary in every relationship. If there's no trust, then really you don't have a relationship. You do not have a relationship if you don't trust your spouse. How many of you all out there trust your spouse? How many of you could say, yes, I trust my spouse? And if you can say yes, I glory with you, because that is necessary. But if you have to ask yourself, I wonder where my spouse is, why they're not home yet, and you suspect things. If you have to suspect what they're spending the money with, if you have to suspect everything and you don't trust when they tell you yea is yea, and when they say nay is nay, then you really have a serious problem. Your marriage is in tata. I'm telling you, it is in deep tata. So therefore, work on that. All right, number 13. When you have to complain and nag. Because it's so easy to complain about everything. But the question is, do we take the same time of complaining? And when the person does good, say something good. We usually remember to say the bad. And for good things, we hush about. We miss opportunities to say happy words and words of encouragement. And it becomes an addiction to always see the wrong your spouse doing. Your spouse will never be perfect. So you will always have something to talk to your spouse about that they're not doing right. But not everything you need to point out. Yeah? Something that I've said on this program already, I want to say it again and recommend it to you. When you speak, speak the truth. Let me say it again. When you speak, speak the truth. But not every truth you need to speak. There are some truths you need to just hide it in your heart. Keep it inside. So even if you know for sure, for truth, this person has done something inappropriately, or they have had a flaw and you see that flaw, you do not need to tell them it. Sometimes they know it already. So you could bypass some of those. And when they do something good, catch them doing something good. Let me see what Sandra saying there. Sandra Jack. One wife's excuse for not taking care of herself was that Jesus loves her just as she is. Needless to say, it wasn't long before he was gone. Oh, life. Or blame Jesus for some things, eh, boy? Eh? Jesus loves you as you are, but I don't think he supports when we don't take care of the body he gave us. At all. Mistrust caused by excess baggage. All right. Where we are now. All right. Here's what some people do. As we on that one about the complaining and nagging. Some people complain that the husband don't help with the household chores. But when the husband helps, the wife finds fault with what he did. Yeah? I wonder if my wife hears me. When he does help, he finds fault. Another one is that, because we want to balance it, you, mister, complain that your wife is not looking after her appearance. But when she goes to the beauty salon, pay the money for the beauty salon and do her hair and do her makeup and so on, you complain about one, she that's so long, since 2 o'clock you leave, and you take 3 hours inside of the beauty salon, and you spend so much money. Yeah. So when you're complaining, there is going to be something that the person has to do, and you complain about what they're doing to accomplish what you're complaining about. So this is why you have to balance it. All you understand what I'm saying, my people? Yes. Joy is now you coming inside of here, Joy. What is this? Clear guy. Clear guy Allen said, blame Jesus. For Jesus. He does get it, you know. All right, number 14. I'm going to adjust this. I'll stop at 17. 14, 15, 16. Okay, so just 3 more. And then I will release you. 14. You report your spouse to outsiders. You have a problem with your spouse, you tell his family, you tell his friends, you tell her sister, you tell her girlfriend. It's as though you're just looking for people to just spread what the fault is of your spouse. That is bad attitude. Your spouse is not perfect, but you are not doing the spouse any good by keep repeating what they are doing bad. It makes them feel uncomfortable in the presence of those people. So once they're in the presence of those people, they could never feel okay because they have all the story out of door. No, sir. As they say, Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Mary have all the business. You are breaking down the relationship outside, and actually that is why some people does actually go and tell people your faults, is to help break down those relationships so that you would have no safe haven to go to. It's manipulative. So, but that's a sign of high immaturity. If you have to keep going and tell, because that's what we used to do in primary school. Whenever somebody do something, I'm going and tell on you, I'm going and tell, I'm going and tell. And we become big people. And that's what we do. No. If you're doing that, cut that out. Cut it out. Yes, nitpicking, chef. Whether we do or not, there will always be complaint. That's why it's charming. So just get with it that you're not married to a perfect person. Get with it. 15. You lust after other men or other women. When you come out every time, you have to be wishing that you had an ex-man or you had an ex-woman, or you wish your husband was like this, or you wish your wife like this, and so on. You know your business bad. Now, this might be a secret wish that you see somebody else and say, I wish my husband was like this. I wish my wife was like this, and so on. And you desire that. Then the reason why the person is desiring that is because there is something that is missing in the one that they have. So therefore, that's a red flag also. When you have to imagine sleeping or going to bed with somebody, having sex with somebody, then something is wrong in the home front. Something is wrong with the fuel pump that is home for that to take place. All right? So watch that. Number 16, 2 more and then we're done. When you're not loyal to each other, when people have to talk ill of each other, when their spouses are not there, because what, and this comes back to the one that we were talking about, to outsiders. I think that sometimes some spouses want to look good by showing up how bad their spouse is and how much they're putting up and how much they're suffering under this spouse and so on. It is something for them to look as almost like a martyr, as though that they are such a great person to put up with all of this and so on. It doesn't impress other people. They will listen to you, yes, but it doesn't impress them. So don't bad talk your spouse with other people, because that is being disloyal to them. And you're bad talking them, and when they are wrong, your spouse is wrong, you're behaving as though the relationship is so nice. You understand? Have you ever had that? And when you see how your husband talk to you nice in front of other people, because he's have two, one does talk to you bad and talk to other people good. And the other one is when they talk to you bad in front of people. But when they they treat you nice in front of other people, and people saying, well, she must have a good husband, he must have a nice wife, because look at how nice they get along. But when they're not around you, they bad talk. Okay? So that is fake, disloyal. Number 17, finally, at 8:24. When you don't give sex a priority in your marriage. Yes, we had to go there. Michael, you really had to bring that up. Yes, we had to go there. In a marriage, sex is important. Breaking news. That's a fact. So when sex is not in the marriage, you're opening up the person who you're married to desire it from somebody else. I don't care who they be. I don't care how Christian-like them is. Them is human. And if sex is not being given in the relationship, it is going to be desired outside. So therefore, when sex is not in its rightful place, it is a sign that something is wrong. Sex, according to the psychologist, is the lubricant of the marriage. It is the cement of the matrimony. So therefore, when it becomes a chore, a 10 days, a work, where you have to work hard for it, it creates issues. All right? So there you have it. 17. Plenty, eh? Oh, sorry. Sandra Jack, my laptop showing me 8:25. And that is because these people who program this thing, program it for them, not for me. Thank you very much for the correction. It is 9:24. Josan said, Deputy Human, mic drop, and what? Any program. All right. Josan said, drop the mic. End the program there. Darren Phillips, you're on point, sir. I hope both women and men are really listening to what's being said. Thank you very much. You are being laughed at and you don't even know it. Isn't that embarrassing? When you realize that people know things about you that you don't even know that your story outside of them. I agree with you, Frida Leaks. That can't be nice. I think it is a bad attitude. Hey, Miguel, Joanna, Jackson, Vincent, glad to see you. You're coming late, it seems. All right. I know someone and they are divorced twice. But talking to your spouse and they said, what does that say about you? Frida Leaks said, boom. All right, lots of people like window dressing and pretense. Frida Leaks says sex is used as a weapon. Yeah, Well, I don't know how many men that use sex as a weapon. Mostly women use it as a weapon. Men glad, even though they're vexed, they still want it. But ladies, when they're vexed, they use it as a weapon. Sex for men is right next to oxygen. They're sleeping pills. Not too long, got in from work. Happy New Year to you and your listeners. Thank you very much, Joanna. I hope you get a chance to look back at it. It will help you. All right. Thank you all very much, people. We did start late because of the fact that we had some technical challenges. I don't know if it's because the system get a little rusty because it wasn't being used. But now, before I go, let me just tell you one more time about our upcoming program. Like it gone. I wanted to share with you the fact that we have this where is it? We are having our counseling online. All right? We are having a counseling online. No, where did it disappear to? So we're inviting people to come out for that. And what we're doing is that you'll get a chance to ask your questions, you'll get a chance to be able to interact in a counseling session online with everybody. We're not going to take very, very personal questions, but quick question on relationships. Whether or not you're married or not, it doesn't matter. Whether you're in a relationship or not, it doesn't matter. But once you're interested in relationship or you have questions that deal with that connection, then we are saying, let's talk about it. So it is on the 19th of January at 3:30 to 5:30. We're asking people to make a contribution. The normal cost for counseling is $350 TT or $60 US. It is going for 75 TT for 2 hours and not the 1 hour that a normal counseling would go for $20 US. It's just a contribution to make sure that we can continue to do what we do and pay for what we pay to maintain everything at all. All right. So you could just take your camera, take out the picture that is on the line there of the Q code. It will take you to the page to register. This cost is available only for 24 hours. On the website, it is going to change to a higher figure. The US is going to change to $50 US in 24 hours automatically. And the $75 is going to change. It is going to change, I think. Yeah, it's going to change to about $100 in 24 hours. So best use just register now. It's going to be great. I want to encourage you. It will be great hearing the questions and having the answers given. We look forward to having you there. Thank you very much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday. I'm Michael Stewart, and this has been Mike at Night. Good evening.